Good afternoon. I'm Mark Allen with Gaper.io, and I'm here today with Eric Sue, who is the owner of SingleGrain and also the CEO of ClickFlow. Good afternoon, Eric.
Thanks for having me, Mark.
Thanks for joining us today. Sounds like you're a busy guy.
I try to be.
So can you share a brief background of yourself and your work experience?
Yeah, so name's Eric Sue, and I mainly focus in the marketing world. So I have a podcast called Marketing School, which I do every day, and another podcast called Leveling Up. So we create a lot of marketing content, a lot of blog content, video content, and that's led us to grow the other companies that we have, which would be SingleGrain, which is a digital agency, mostly focused on software companies, and then I also have a SaaS company called ClickFlow. But everything really stems from building the attention first, and then building a business around that attention.
Oh, very good. So what has been your experience with remote employment as a remote employee yourself and as a remote employer?
Yeah, I mean, when I was running marketing at a startup, we had about 80 employees or so. 65% of us were fully remote, and I was one of them. I was based in LA. Company was in Portland, Oregon, which is actually engineers. I'm looking at Gaper right now. Engineers might know of it. It's called Treehouse. It's the company, and yeah, ever since then I've been used to remote. Our software company ClickFlow is fully remote. My other projects are podcasts and stuff. Obviously, it's remote. It's not obvious, but it's remote. With SingleGrain, pre-COVID, we were in the office 3 days a week, and then 2 days were work from home, and people really like that because you get to have kind of the best of both worlds. Now it'll probably be a little less, but people still crave the human interaction. So we just kind of created an office just for that, because it's a different type of business. So
yeah, no, I actually think going forward after things settle down, that model, the hybrid model, will be the standard for most companies. That can. I mean, there's obviously waiters and waitresses can't work remotely, but the average person, it's been proven now that they can now after 8 weeks. And LA's on lockdown until August 1st now, correct?
Well, no, that was the Mayor Garcetti, our mayor, said that was basically fake news. So I thought it was going to happen till August, to your point. But no, that's not the case. I think we're actually going to start slowly reopening up soon. But to your point, I agree with you. I think the 3-2 model is great because what happens is people come into the office for 3 days and they're craving to actually come back by Monday. Again, this is pre-COVID. Who knows if they're craving to actually come back in now? But yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah, no, I think so too. I think you're right. They do still like that one-on-one in-person contact, but especially in cities like LA and San Francisco and others where traffic is such an issue, if you take 40% of the traffic off the road, it's really not as bad.
Yeah, traffic. I mean, we're talking rent too. People are now looking. I was just looking at Twitter. A lot of these people are looking to move out. So,
yeah,
San Francisco. Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to have a ripple effect on many industries, I think.
Yep.
So what do you think? I mean, we've talked about it. What do you think is the future of remote employment, and what do you think can be done differently to make it better?
Yeah, I mean, doing Zoom calls all day sucks. We're just in the same setting over and over, and Zoom fatigue is real. But what I would say, I was actually looking at this other, it's a service now. Someone adapted pretty quickly. There's a service that helps you put together different happy hours that it's fairly creative. You can do like escape rooms. There's different icebreakers and things like that. And you pay like $75 an employee. So I think that type of human connection or the fun, stuff that you would usually do in a live happy hour environment, you don't really get as much anymore. So I think more and more people are going to be going to services like that. Again, I forget the company. But I think we're actually signing up to give it a shot because what we found was when we switched to fully remote, our happy hours were just, you had a Brady Bunch style type of thing in Zoom, and we all just kind of stared at each other and it was awkward. We talked for a little bit, but then it just felt forced. But I think once you have something where people have clearly thought through like, hey, this is how things should be. And I think, from a user experience standpoint, switching over to Zoom, I think, hopefully they're going to make the experience better versus just, video chat all day because that gets old. So.
Yeah, it does. And you notice that when you have a number of people in a Zoom call, you do a lot of talking over each other. Where you're in person, you can actually tell when someone's going to talk.
Yeah. Yeah, right? You can read the room. Yeah, for sure.
And you can't do that on Zoom. So very good. So what is the story behind both your companies? What do they do and who is your target audience and all that stuff?
Yeah, I mean, so SingleGrain, we primarily work with big tech or software companies, so the Ubers, the Amazons of the world, and we help them with paid advertising, we help them with SEO work, and then software company ClickFlow, we primarily help companies that have content teams, so people like teams of greater than five, who invest at least $10,000 or so a month in content marketing. So those are the types of companies we can help grow their traffic because they're already creating content, and our software helps them, tells them what they should be putting in, keywords wise, or what else they should be doing to grow their traffic. So those are the two companies. But beyond that, again, I come back to the content that we're putting out. So the marketing school podcast that I have with a partner, that one gets about 1.1 million downloads a month, and we're really focused on serving that community. So I think it's all about building great content first, building a community around it, and then you build a product or a service. And with that, what we're doing is we're actually building a marketing school, and we have events that are tied to that too, which people pay a higher ticket to attend those events, about $25,000 a ticket.
Wow. And interesting. Will that be remote or will that be in person?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, we were originally very skeptical about doing the virtual event, but after I talked to a friend last week, he did his virtual event. They did $1.8 million, and his friend did a virtual event, 2,400 attendees. They did $6.5 million. So I think the number he said he's gotten the highest ratings ever. NPS score was its highest. So we're gonna make a switch and see how people react to it.
Wow, very cool. So, the current situation, with the coronavirus caused pretty much all companies around to go remote in mid-March.
Yep.
Sounds like you already had a lot. I mean, you already were a remote company, but did that cause any challenges that you didn't expect?
Yeah, I think kind of what you said, because we had the hybrid model already and all the other things were remote, it wasn't really much of a switch. I think probably the biggest issue for us was burnout. Now, I think when you think about, yes, there's no more LA traffic, there's less commuting time. It's tough to just expect someone to work the whole 8 hours because they have the whole 8 hours now.
Right.
So I think we did kind of dial that back, and we did give people, like next week, for example, we're giving the entire Friday off because it's a 3-day weekend. So now it'll become a 4-day weekend. But we're even telling our leadership team to take these mental health days, and we'll just pay for it, and hopefully set an example for the other people. So I think it's just taking time off. And then what we've also done to make things a little more fun is because one of our core values is growth, we bought everyone a masterclass subscription for a year just to learn more. Hey, go take a break. We bought everyone these cookies. So we're just trying to change things up a little bit to make things interesting, so it's not Groundhog Day every single day.
That's a good way to explain it, because you really don't notice the difference between Monday through Friday and Saturday and Sunday anymore, do you?
Nope, not at all. Besides your hair getting longer, so.
I know it's been 8 weeks now. I need a haircut.
Same for me. That's why I wear this hat. So.
I know I don't wear it for these, but I do as soon as I get done. Whenever I go to anywhere outside, I put on the hat. So there are companies like Gaber that help develop, build, and scale products, especially for startups. How important do you think this will be going forward for companies like yourself that need, talent with certain skills and they need them in a hurry?
I think very important. I think your guys' headline on your site is perfect, right? Hire top 1% of vetted engineers, even better than your competitor, the top 3%. So I think it's really important. And to your point, we were actually using some of these marketplaces to help with some of the overflow on the ClickFlow side, because we're actively hiring engineers right now. But yeah, it's hard to find the right people. It's hard to kind of recruiting is always number one in a strong job environment, but even right now it's still super important. So yeah, I think what you guys are doing is super important because you just make people's lives a lot easier.
Well, thank you. And Eric, I want to thank you for your time today. This has been very informative. You obviously have a lot on your plate, a very busy guy, and I wish both your companies, and it sounds like you have a few other things going on there, I wish you all the luck in the world.
Thanks.
All right, have a great day.